Hey, it's Captain Matt, Motor Secret Weapon. I'm out here on a beautiful, Thursday afternoon, and doing some video work and adding a little bit to a couple of our programs on navigation. I'm here on the part of Lake Wylie that has some navigation buoys, some danger buoys. So I figured this would be a great spot to put this together and add to the boating amplifier toolkit and share it with you as well. So you can see I had a few folks that requested that I commentate a little bit as some of the videos where I'm cruising around. So I got some copyright strikes for playing by radio. I didn't even think about it that you can't do that. So I can't have the radio on, and instead of just sitting here listening to nothing, I figured I would commentate a little bit, and maybe I'll add some extra music in after the fact. So anyway, we're here on Lake Wylie. This is up ahead of me. You can see that's 85, Interstate 85, where it's crossing over. So on the left side of the bank, well, actually here where everything's North Carolina, but as we get a little bit further down on this lake, one side of the bank is North Carolina, the other side of the bank is South Carolina, and the state line somewhere in the middle. So when it comes to fishing licenses, law enforcement, this lake is actually governed by, we've got North and South Carolina sheriffs, we've got U.S. Coast Guard because it's a federal waterway. We also have, let's see, Gaston County, Mecklenburg County, York County, as well as Belmont, the town of Belmont, and I believe the town of Gastonia and Gaston County. I think they run the same boats, but there's all sorts of different law enforcement, all sorts of different rules on this lake. But that's where at the right up the way. No, actually, it's up here just a little bit in front of us. We'll probably pass it. Is the U.S. National Whitewater Center. The Whitewater Center is, they kind of diverted some of the water from the river, and it's where the United States whitewater rafting team and kayakers practice, and they do their trials there as well. So it's a really cool area. They've got a nice restaurant there. They've got hiking trails, biking trails. It's really pretty cool. Welcome, everybody. What do you think of my new intro? It confused Ray, I see. What is happening? I think I might make an actual intro where I'm talking and welcoming people, telling them what's going on. But yeah, so the intro that that Bo created for us, I figured, hey, if I tied that in, I could actually get started earlier, let people kind of have conversations while there's something going on. And so we'll see. Maybe I'll make a special video. I'm gonna be out filming on Wednesday, so we'll do that. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Derek Johnson. He's been a viewer for, oh crap, Derek's been looking at boats for over a year, I think, is when he first showed up in the comments. He became a supporting member on YouTube, and he must be back at it because I see him back in the comments again. Derek, welcome if you're on. Ray, the first one in, confused you with my little video. But I was just tested to see how that was going to work. Brock, good to have you. Charlie, good to have you. And Derek, good to have you. So glad to have everybody here. Let's see. Okay. So Brock, if y'all are new, looks like we've got a good crew coming on. Brock has been yeah, good to be back. Derek, good to have you. Brock has been
on the lives. I think since my very first one, I don't know that he's missed one. He listens to it while he's watching football. He was driving down back from Florida last week after placing, or 2 weeks ago after placing first in his fishing tournament. Now he got third again. So he's got, is a bass boat guy and a center console guy. So good to have you back. Congratulations on a good finish. Hopefully that puts you in the money a little bit. And Derek, good to have you back shopping. Go ahead and fire out any questions. If you're new to the lives, Rhonda Harner, one of my favorites. No offense to anybody else, but Rhonda sends me some funny emails, some great pictures. She invested in the best pontoon captain on the water down in Myrtle Beach, and has done an interview with me. She is funny and super nice. Has been super supportive. So welcome. Derek officially Bimini top season here in the Southeast. Kansas, 100 degrees on the water yesterday. Derek, I am going to be. We are leaving on Friday to start our Lake of the Ozarks vacation. So we're driving, stopping in Tennessee at my in-laws' lake place in just outside of Knoxville. Going to spend 4th of July there. And then we're going to continue on, drive another 12 hours or so to our family's place at the Lake of the Ozarks, see my parents, my brother, and his kids. So we will be experiencing some of the southern Missouri, south central Missouri heat, and I'm sure it's going to be pretty close to 90s while we're there. Chasing Serenity, good to have you. What does an engine repower mean? Should it be a cause for concern? So an engine repower just means that they had to replace the block, usually on a stern drive, which is Volvo 5.7. Here's what concerns me is what happened. How did we get to the point that we had to replace the engine? Did somebody forget to winterize? Okay, that's a reasonable thing. Did it overheat? Was it other negligence of some sort? And then that brings up the question, what else might have been negligent that maybe wasn't well taken care of, that could cause an issue down the line, or that will need to be repaired quickly? And then the other side of it is, how good of a job did they do reinstalling it? Some technicians can drop in a new engine, replace everything that needs to be replaced, and you are golden. You are good to go. It's going to be a little bit more expensive. They're going to use the OEM parts. They're going to say, well, while we're doing this, we're going to replace that as well, versus, oh, that's got a little bit of life left in it. I'm going to try to keep the repair bill to $6,000 instead of being $7,500 or $8,000. Those are the types of questions. So what I want to see is, I want to see receipts. I want to know who did it, and then I'm going to do some research on who did it. I also want to, do the regular checks that you're going to check, but it's a single red flag. Chasing Serenity, it's a single red flag that says, let's ask some questions about this. Why did you replace it? When did you replace it? Who replaced it? How's it been running for the last 50 hours? Have you had any issues? Let's still check compression. Did you make that mistake again? So those are the types of things that I would ask, but it's a red flag. And then you start going down those lines. If it was a, shade tree mechanic that does one engine repower a year, well, now I'm maybe a little bit concerned, but I can go through, I can do the checklist that you'll find at the toolkit, and go through that, watch the videos. I can, on my demo, I'm going to run that boat hard, and I'm going to check and make sure, hey, how are things going? So hopefully that helps you there. And Chasing Serenity has been with us. We've probably been around for several months, maybe even 6 months or more. Tim, good to have you. Thanks for joining us. Tim, I think if I've got the right guy, not too long ago invested in one of the programs. I want to say it was the Best Boat Captain. So welcome, Tim, Rhonda, James Henley. Would love to buy a boat, just not wanting to get screwed doing it. Looking at the Yamaha Fish Sport E. I'm new here. James, welcome. There is a great video on all about jet boats. My take on the Yamaha Fish, it's a nice mid-level boat. If you are really going to fish it, I don't know how well it's set up for fishing. You'll notice the center console and the helm is pushed way back. You've got to kind of judge for yourself on the type of fishing. If you're going offshore, I don't think it's a really great setup. If you're going to be running, I don't know, James, where you are, but not having the ability to trim your engine means that if you're running anywhere on the coast and it's going to get rough and you're going to maybe get caught in storms, there's a number of issues that come up with that. If you're freshwater and you just like it, then it's all about layout. It's going to be fine in that, and they're fun to drive. I think trying to think. I know a couple people have talked about really liking the Fishes, but I can't think of a name off the top of my head of somebody that actually has one. Remember the problem with my Garmin beeping? Yep. Said I'm stuck. Light dark mode. Says power is on. Wait 1 minute. Hit power button twice. Quick, and that should work. So Ray had an issue where his depth finder wasn't reading on his Garmin. And it kept giving him a beeping and things weren't working right. We were trying to figure out what it was. And Brock had some suggestions. I had some real remedial suggestions. Brock actually had some good, like, I know what I'm talking about suggestions. So hopefully that works for you, Ray. Keep us posted. Let's see here. Dan Vidovich, we are Lake Loudon. So if you know where Calhoun's is on Loudon, we're maybe 10 minutes away from that by water. And what we usually do is we usually run down Loudon through the little canal, through the bridge over to Tellico, and we usually hang out on Tellico. So that's where we're going to be heading, and we'll be there. It's about a 4.5 hour drive. We'll be there late Friday night. I think my girl's got something going on Friday during the day. We'll get there late Friday night, hang out Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 4th of July. And then on the 5th, we'll probably pack up somewhat early and start driving to the Midwest to where I'm from. So, Derek, I appreciate you joining and becoming a supporting member. I really do appreciate that. If all of the support, people just giving thumbs up, liking videos, the financial support has obviously helped me continue to do this, investing in the programs that we offer, the Best Boat Captain. I always want to make sure I'm delivering a ton of value, and to everybody, even that participates on these lives, is always very much appreciated. You're welcome, Chasing Serenity. Savannah, Tybee Island, saltwater. Yeah. So if you are in that environment, I'm just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, James. So, and I know I've not boated much in Savannah, but I've been to Savannah Bend Marina, and know the water a little bit. Usually more off Charleston is where I'm going to be at the coast. But if you're going to be inland more, you're probably going to be okay. Saltwater, you're totally fine. It's not a saltwater thing. It's are you wanting to run offshore at all? Are you going to be near shore and inshore most of the time? That's the thing that, with the jet boat in that environment, it's hey, I want to go fishing 10 miles offshore. Because of the way the jet drive is, it's at the surface of the boat and there's no trim. So an outboard, you've got trim, right? All right. So I got this from my daughter's bath toys. They're done using toys in the bath. But if you think about it, with an outboard, you can adjust, let's see, we'll use this. You can adjust the angle of the engine, right? You start with the trim all the way down. It's almost tucked up underneath a little bit. That gets you going. Boom, you bow rise, you settle down, and then you trim it, and that gets you your attitude a little bit nose high so you can take those waves. And now you're just sort of glancing off the top of the waves, versus if you don't have that trim, like on the jet boat, you're going to be banging into it, and it's not softened up by the angle of the bow and the angle of the thrust from the propeller. That's number one. Number two is the waves are going, and as you're hitting them, if you get 3-foot rollers or something and you're going at a decent clip, and you get your back end comes out, and now every time that jet drive comes out of the water, you lose propulsion, you lose maybe your suction here, and your impellers are already spinning, let's say 5,000 RPM, are going to freewheel and spin at a really high RPM. When you've got your outboard that's sitting down in the water 2 feet, 2.5 feet, 3 feet, depending on if you've got your jack plate going and where that's set. But now as you hit those rollers, that you always have your prop in the water. You got to hit a really big one going pretty fast to get up and out. Hopefully that makes sense. And I'm glad I got to use my boat, because I was like, all right, this is going to be great. Now I got a demonstration tool, and I'm going to do a video on that, on the trim. And that's a good little walkthrough for me. $8 a gallon on the water this week. Yep. Tom, Boater Tom, welcome. I haven't seen your name in the comments before. In the comments I have. On the live, it's the first time. So yeah, it's I don't know what it's going to be at the Ozarks when we're there, but we do a lot of restaurant hopping and things like that. So it'll be interesting to see what it is there in Missouri. Okay. Yeah. So we go there. Let's see, we're going to be there the 4th. We were there over Memorial Day, and we'll be back at the end of July. We do my wife's family's vacation at their lake place at the end of July. So, Derek, let's see, have you ever listed any of your boats on BoatSetter? General thoughts on the platform. All right. So Chasing Serenity. I actually just booked a BoatSetter boat today. I am doing, I decided what I'm going to do is, on the Best Boat Captain, is I'm going to do an advanced docking. And if JD emailed me this afternoon, he said he wanted to talk a little bit about docking in high winds. So what I'm going to do is I'm taking a center console out, because I need to finish up some pieces on my single engine outboard version. So I'm taking out a single engine outboard, and I got it on BoatSetter. That allows me, for what I do, it's beneficial for me to, Lake Wiley. You're exactly, Derek, that's exactly where I'm going to be, is on Wednesday. I pick up the boat at noon, and I'll be on Lake Wiley till 8:00, till dark, filming this. And I go to BoatSetter. I go to get my boat. I've interviewed both companies. I've interviewed Shay from BoatSetter, and I've interviewed what was her name? Amy, maybe, the VP of marketing at Get My Boat, and Shay Unity, the VP of sales and marketing at BoatSetter. Both great companies. I've rented and used both of them as a consumer of renting boats, listing boats. I talked about this in the interviews, is you got to be a little bit cautious. Running a boat's not as easy as renting out a car. And think about, would you rent your car to somebody? I think, depending on the type of boat that you have, I think it can be a great business. I like the idea of requiring that they have some boating experience, that they've taken a safe boating class, that they've done the Best Boat Captain on the Water training prior to them getting on your boat and going. And but what I do like about it is they give you insurance. You can have just your regular boat insurance for your pleasure boating, and then you pay per policy, and I pay it. I mean, it goes on the bill, but I think mine was like, for 8 hours, it was like $30 or $40 extra for the insurance. Now they've got commercial rental insurance to cover me for that 8-hour trip. I like that as a boat owner. I really like that. I like that they allow you to sort of cherry pick who gets to rent your boat. Not just anybody can rent it. You can ask some questions. You can verify some things to say, yeah, you're competent and you're going to be able to handle it. I think at the coast, maybe you need to be a little bit more diligent in those questions that you ask. But I know one of the guys that I rent from here, that actually was a former client of mine, bought a pontoon from me 10 years ago. I found him on Get My Boat, and I've rented from him multiple times. And he said, hey, my first year that I did it, I made 20 grand on this boat. He's sold his business. He's retired. He loves it. Matter of fact, he bought another boat to put on the platform to do it because he's been a boater since he was a kid. He's got a place on the lake. He's got a rental place on the lake, so he's got places to keep them. He asks, make sure they've got boating experience. He will give them a little on-water training orientation, and it's turned into a great little side business for him in his semi-retirement. I mean, he's probably in his mid-50s, late 50s, maybe. And it works great for him. So I think with the right precautions, I think it could be a great opportunity. And the platforms are wonderful. I like both platforms. They both are really, really good. And the technology works great. You can find a boat in your area. I tell people in the First Time Boat Buyer Academy, and it's somebody that's a first time boater that's not really sure what they want. I tell them, go there and rent a boat for the style that you want. Get a captain boat so you don't have to worry about it. You'll learn a ton of stuff. You'll learn about your local waterways, and you'll get to learn, is a pontoon or a tri-toon with a 150 going to do it for us? Do we want a cabin boat, or do we want a center console? And it's a great opportunity. So you're welcome, James. Glad that was helpful for you. Harris Chain of Lakes in Central Florida. Boater Tom, welcome. I have not been down there. I haven't boated much in Florida, but $8 a gallon in Florida on the Central Lakes. Let's see here. And if you're new, go ahead and throw out your question. You can just kind of see how it's going. I'll scroll through and I'll answer questions as they come up. I kind of try to scroll through and get an idea of if I ask a question in return, we have a little bit of a conversation to keep up. So let us know what it cost your brother to fill up that big Envision with the twins. Yeah, that's a matter of fact, I tried to get a hold of him the other day and for something about the boats. I'll have to ask him because they were down there. Like the week after Memorial Day, I think. So he's already spent some time there. Mom and dad run the pontoon when they're there, and they just putz around anyway, but he gets on it. Derek. Hey, Derek, are you, no, that's not right. Derek, are you the one that bought the pontoon that I met at the Charlotte Boat Show? Because you were asking questions about like boat buying questions, I thought. But let me know if that's you. If that's, I met you and your wife, and she did the little video with me. I don't know if that's you or not. But I might have you mixed up with somebody else. Let's see here. Letter Lewis, Leatier Lewis. Watch your videos talking about pontoon brands. How much different ride quality is there between mid-tier and high-end? It's going to be mostly how solid the boat feels under your feet. So if you were the ability to take waves, that kind of thing, not significantly different. But how solid it takes those waves, it's kind of a nuanced thing there, but they're all going to have the nose cones are all almost the same length, other than Manitou, JC, and there may be a handful of others. Almost everybody uses the Dolphin nose cone, where they take a sheet of aluminum and they start tack welding it down the keel for the V, and then It just comes around, and then they'll weld it. So it's, I don't know how to do this. It kind of looks like that. There we go. It kind of looks like that on the nose cone, and then it comes around to whatever the diameter of the tunes are, and then it attaches, and then it goes back. It goes back with the tunes. They're all going to be very, very similar. I personally, I think dropping the center tune down an inch or two helps a little bit in the ride quality, but unless you like ride it from now and then you run the next one right after, I don't think it's going to be that noticeable, but it will be noticeable if you ride like a Bennington, a Harris, a Barletta, a Manitou, and then you run like, let's say, a Sweetwater or a Crest or a Sylvan or something like that. What you'll feel is the higher end and even the more expensive on the higher end are when you hit waves and chop, you're going to be like, it's rock solid. Barletta being the most superior, in my opinion, the Bennington Q, the Harris, like Grand Mariner, although most of the Harrises the platforms are similar, but the ones with the fiberglass are going to ride a little bit more sturdy because they've got that extra weight on them too, and that makes everything feel more solid. The more solid the furniture is, the more solid that ride will be. And then you go down to like a Sun Tracker or something like that, and when you hit, like, you'll hear things rattle. It won't be as sturdy in the ride, but you're not going to get beat up more in one versus another. So hopefully I explained that well. Trying to decide JC is worth it. The Viaggio, Godfrey Sweetwater. I'll tell you that I was pretty impressed with the JCs when I looked at them at might have been the Greenville show. I need to update the best and worst pontoon video where I review them all. JD that asked me the question about docking in high winds said he's watching TV with his wife and he has no alternative. So I don't know if he's going to make it on, but you will feel a more solid ride. But you're not going to be like getting beat up with the Viaggio or the Sweetwater. So hopefully that helps. And if you can, it's really difficult in this market. If you can, try to get out there on those brands and again, get my boat or boat setter. I'm sure you can find a Sweetwater to rent. The JC and the Viaggio, they've only been making the Viaggios for a couple of years. They might be a little bit harder, but talk to the dealer and try to get a demo set up. And I think, yeah, I don't think you're going to be blown away by the ride quality. And I'll include that with taking the waves and just the solidness of it. I don't think with those three brands, you're going to be like, oh gosh, this one's head over heels or head and shoulders above the other two. I just don't think that you're going to see that. So let's see here. Where do we got? Okay, there we go. Bass tournaments on Wiley. Okay, that's right. That I remember Brock saying that he was going to be on Wiley. They've supposed to have some great fishing there. I've got a buddy that was a tech at the dealership that I worked at, and he grew up on Wiley fishing, and he does a lot of the tournaments and does real well there. He says there's great fishing there. Looking for a charter possibly. Derek, are you looking for a fishing charter? Are you looking for just somebody to take you out? Tell me what you're looking for. And I worked on that at Lake Wiley Marina for 5 years. I still know a lot of people down on that lake. I stop in there, 3-4 times a year and just to say hey to some friends. And I know the manager there. So if there's something that you want to do specifically, let me know and I'll try to connect you, including Mike, who would take you out on his bass boat as a charter And like I said, he knows it real well. Be happy to connect you if that's something you're looking for. You're very welcome, Chasing Serenity. Absolutely. Any experience with Mercury outboards? Yes, and I'm not a technician, so yes, I do. A matter of fact, I've run I 100, maybe even 1,000 of them, because we were a Mercury exclusive dealer when I sold boats. So from '09 to 2013, 2014, whenever I left, I was running like 95% of the stuff I ran was Mercury. We had Yamaha jet boats, so I ran those as well. So I know those pretty well. The other boats, some Yamaha, some Volvos, but if you've watched, I'm not sure what your question is, James, specifically, um, but I've got a video. Let's see here, where I compare Mercury's to Yamahas, and spoiler alert: the bottom line is, in my opinion, is buy the one. They're both great engines. They're both very reliable. Buy the one where you have the best technicians in your area, the easiest access, whether that's local, the most competent that have availability. And if I don't remember where you're in Savannah. So in Savannah, there's going to be a ton of Yamaha people, but there's getting to be more and more Mercuries at the coast. Their Yamaha doesn't have the stranglehold on the market share at the coast like they did 10, 15 years ago. But in some pockets, it can still be hard to find a Mercury person in saltwater environments. Savannah, I'm trying to think. I've been to the Savannah Boat Show several times, and I think you should be able to find Mercury folks there without too much issue. So, how do you feel about the Suzuki 250s? Ordered a Crest, motors delayed. I need to do this video as well, Suzuki, Mercury, and Yamaha, and kind of do a three-way comparison, because I think that's going to cover 95%. There's a few Honda folks out there, Tohatsu, trying to make it in with the with the bigger horsepower, but they're essentially a rebranded engine. Although I've talked to them and they said, no, we're building these ourselves, 100% ourselves. But I don't think that's the case. But I would need to do that video again. Courtney, it goes to, and welcome. I haven't seen your name in the comments either, but welcome to the live and to the channel. As long as there's Suzuki technicians in your area, and the dealer that you're buying that Crest from, if they're selling it, they probably do some work on Suzuki. Maybe there's some dealers that are saying, hey, we love the Suzuki so much that we're ordering most of our boats with Suzuki. Just make sure they have the expertise on the service side of things. And it's not, we sell 5 Suzukis a year, but 95 Mercuries or 95 Yamahas. I've not run the Suzuki and the Mercury 250 boom, boom, boom. But my gut tells me is you're going to have the very, very similar experience with both of them. And they're both going to be very reliable. They're both going to do real well. And I can't imagine, well, the resale on one versus another might be different if there's no Suzuki technicians in your area. If there's just 0 Suzukis in your area, then resale may take a hit. But your experience as an owner, if there's technicians, there's no difference between the two. And I'm not sure which one's delayed and which one you can get. But I would say flip a coin and you're not going to see a huge difference. Haven't gone yet. Last year, 50 pounds for 2 days. Yeah, like I was saying, Mike used to say there's some good fishing there. So, oh crap, something just happened. A different Derek. Okay, that I thought you and I have had conversations, and you comment multiple times on the same video, and I was like, but why am I thinking that it's the same guy? So, All right, let's see here. Great evening. Hey, thanks for joining us, Danovich. Someone to take me out. Reach out, Derek. Shoot me an email. Let's see. I'll do it this way. Send me an email there, and send me an email there, and we'll take it off. We'll take it off on a different conversation. But one way or another, I can get you hooked up, and depending on what you're looking at to do, and can try to give you a good experience on Wiley. All right. Any difference in hub guards such as bearing buddies? I don't know. I don't have any idea. I don't think there is. Lost one on a trip. Used one from Walmart. Stayed in the trailer for 5 years and was fine. Yeah, that if the Walmart brand is lasting you 5 years and you haven't had any issues, that's going to be the, the one thing. And Hux, I know you wouldn't do this, knowing you, but getting parts off Amazon that aren't from a verified seller, where they're coming from a reputable distributor. That's the only thing that I've heard more and more and more of is, I bought this impeller kit. I bought this from Amazon, and it turned out to be some Chinese knockoff. It lasted 2 trips out and had an issue. But anything that you buy that is from a verified seller online or from a local shop, I think you'd probably have good shape. Be in good shape there. Just moved to Clearwater. Been looking at the Yamaha 210. Visited the dealer, looked at the Starcraft. Size is good. Don't know your thoughts. So, Jose, the question is, what are you looking to do? So you're in Florida, you're in saltwater. Who's going to go out with you? Are you looking to go to the sandbar? Are you looking to go offshore with the Starcraft and the Yamaha? My gut tells me you're probably a family that you want to go to the sandbar some. You want to cruise around, maybe do some tubing, cruise around to some of the restaurants around. Probably not doing offshore fishing, doing that kind of thing. But give me a little bit of idea, age of the kids, if you've got kids. Here's the question I ask on the Yamaha versus a deck boat. Are you a speedster, a motorcycle guy, an ATV guy, or are you just a nice, easy cruising, comfort guy? Are you a Cadillac, or not a Cadillac? Are you a nice sedan? Are you a sports car? Which personality type are you? And that will help me guide you as well. Both, mid-level. I would say the Starcraft is a little bit lower quality than the Yamaha, but not by a significant amount. But to me, the difference between the two is more about, what are you looking to do? And do you want that sports car feel, or do you want a little bit more roomy comfort that is just going to be a nice cruiser? Because sometimes like even the AR, the Yamaha AR SX, sometimes they just want to get up and go a little bit. They don't want to just putts where that Starcraft would. Boys, 2-3 pumps in them before I go every time, tear the hubs apart, replacing. Yeah, that I should have known. Just like I said, I know Charlie wouldn't buy the cheap stuff off the Amazon. I should have known that you didn't just put them on and then leave them there not to touch them again for 5 years. Oh, okay. Yeah. Derek asked about the nitro. Brock, I think that you run a nitro, or your dad runs the nitro. Derek was asking about that in the comments. And I said, hey, if Brock's on the live, ask the question on the live, because he will give you some good input. So he was asking the question, what are your thoughts on the nitro? And what is your experience with them? I said, none. I don't know a whole lot about the bass boat market. But Brock can give you a little. So if you wouldn't mind, Brock, throwing your review of the nitros in. And I think Derek is looking new as well. So Derek, correct me if I'm wrong there. I'll let you guys chat in the comments a little bit. All right, Jose, let me come back to mostly sandbar, fishing, family, friends. Yeah, I think, and I don't know, Jose, if you were on earlier when I was talking to who was that? James, talking to James about the one thing about the Yamaha, and he was looking at the fish model, and he's out of Savannah, so just a little bit north of you, on the Atlantic side, is the jet boats have two disadvantages when you talk about fishing and you're going to go out into some chop, and you're going to get in a little bit of rough stuff, which you're not going to plan on it, but it's going to happen at some point. And that is, number one, is the jet boat doesn't have the ability to trim the engine. And what that does is when you trim in a boat, like the Outboard, the Starcraft, is the engine's going to be tilted down, all the way down, and it's going to bow rise, and then it's going to settle in. And then as you get up on plane, then you're going to adjust the trim of that engine, and you're going to what's called trim it up. And that's going to allow the bow to go from this angle to this angle. And what that's going to do is, it's, as you're hitting the waves, it's going to just softly glance off the waves and give you a nice ride. If you don't trim it, like on the Yamaha, where you don't have that option because of the jet drive, is every wave you're gonna hit it at this angle, and it's gonna give you a rougher ride. Okay, it's there's nothing to soften it up because the thrust is making you just plow right through it, boom, 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 versus and just sort of glancing off. That's number one. Number two is that if you're in that rough stuff, the jet drive is coming from the right back here at the back of the transom. It's, if you run your finger on the bottom of the boat, your jet drive is above that. Whereas the Outboard on the Starcraft, you've got your lower unit, 2 feet down, 2.5 feet down into the water, and you've got a good grip. As you hit those waves, your lower unit's going to stay in that water, even if it gets real rough out there. Whereas the Yamaha could potentially, if it gets, too rough, every time you hit a wave and you're going at a decent speed, you can come out of the water and if you've ever heard jet skis do that, those are the two things that, if you're going to be doing a lot of fish, or even you're going to do any fishing offshore, I would start leaning towards that. Well, leaning towards an Outboard. I wouldn't lean towards a Starcraft, because that style of boat I don't think is the right boat to be taken offshore to do a day of fishing. So, all right. So hopefully, Jose, that helps you. Check out my video, dual consoles versus center consoles. That dual console setup might be something that interests you. That would do the sandbar. It would do some of the fishing. It would certainly do the friends and family. It would fit for the Florida coast. Would you say Clearwater? I think. Yeah, Clearwater area. That could be a nice setup for you. And something in the value level there might kind of wrap it up and allow you to do everything. So check that video out. It is, where is that one? Here we go. Bow riders. Let me go bigger on that. Bow riders versus dual console. And that Starcraft is somewhat of a bow rider. I'd call it a deck boat, but I think that video might be valuable for you. And start thinking about what we're going to do as you're looking at these boats, what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, who's going to be on it, and it'll lead you down the right path. All right, Dave C. Wanting to purchase a used pontoon tritone, know the resource to use to research pricing. So if you go to guides.com, the first thing you want to do is look in a 500-mile radius of your area and just start looking at where prices are on the retail side, knowing that, hey, the market's starting to soften. Some of the high prices, like you would do with anything, the top 5% throw out, the bottom 5% or 10% throw out, and look at that middle chunk of 80% or so. That's the price range that, okay, this is about where the market is. And then come here to NADA guides, go to boats, which is up top here. If you can see my little cursor, go to boats. And then you're going to say powerboat right here, and pay attention because outboards and trailers could be separate. So Dave C, if you're buying a outboard pontoon, which is what I'm going to recommend you do on a trailer, you may have to do some math and put some things in. So you're going to look in the powerboat category. We talk about this in the First Time Boat Buyer Academy, but all right, so we are going to do I'm trying to think of, there we go, smoker craft. I'm trying to do something where it probably won't be matched. So smoker craft. Oh, I don't know which one's a pontoon in this. But what you're going to do is you're going to look at, I guess I'll just do Bennington, see if I can show it to you there. I know these are all, you're going to look and you're going to see this little star. That little star says it includes the outboard, I think. Come on. Oh, where's my little... Somewhere. Okay, so includes the value of the outboard motor. So if you see that star, Dave, that's going to tell you, okay, this 18LL includes the motor. Now it's going to say, put in your zip code, put in the options. You've got to look at the options as the things that are added on that aren't likely to be factory installed options. So every boat from Bennington comes with a canvas cover. It's going to have a bimini top. So if you put those options on, it'll let you, but you're kind of double dipping because the average retail value, there's not hardly any Bennington sold that don't have a canvas cover and that don't have a bimini top. Now, if it was, let's see, what would be a good one? TV. If it has a TV on it, well, most Benningtons don't have a TV. So that I would click on to get an accurate reading. Okay. So hopefully that makes sense. Ski tow bars, all that stuff. You're double dipping if you're including that and you don't want to do it. So it says includes a 35 to 50 horsepower. So if this had a 250 on it, you would want to put in that and it's going to give you the upgrade. It's going to say, hey, what year's the trailer? And you put that in as well. And now, again, same thing on the trailer. Don't put that it has fender wells. Don't put that it has a spare tire. That's just included in a trailer. You don't get a double dip. And you can see how it's going to add the extras. And the upgrade for that engine, it says it comes with the 35 to a 50, but this one has a 250 on it. So we need to get an extra 20 grand, or it comes standard with the 250 and we have a 30 on it and it will take away money. Okay. And then add the trailer and then you're going to get that. So low retail, that's what a dealer will probably give on trade. Okay. That's kind of a wholesale type number. Average retail is going to be, hey, in a normal market, this is what an average boat's going to sell for. There's going to some that sell 10 to 20% more, some that sell 10 to 20% less. Okay. In this market, it's a guide. You just, they update it quarterly and the market's been going up. It's starting to level off, I think, but still some categories, depending on, and the Tritunes I would put in that. Yeah, it's still strong. It's not as strong as it was 6 months ago, but it's still strong. There's still more demand than there is supply from what I'm seeing. But those are some tips on how to look at it, and how to make sure that you're getting. And then Dave, if you're in saltwater, knock 10% to 20% right off the bat, because it's a saltwater boat. And it will say that in some of their notes. If you get the actual book, it will say it in the book to knock it off the average retail price. I don't know if you're in saltwater environment looking at a Tritune or Pontoon, maybe not. But so hopefully, Dave, that's helpful for you. Let's see here. Anthony, good to have you. Welcome back. We are here every Sunday at 8:30, and this is what we do. We just question and answers and conversations. Sometimes there's a little side conversation going on, and there's just a good talk. And we had a guest on, Hux, or Charlie was on with as a special guest. Brock will be on as a special guest coming up in the future. We just got to get that scheduled. So a very knowledgeable boater, and way more knowledgeable than me in a bunch of areas. So all right, so Jose, we got okay, good. So Derek and Brock are having a conversation, agree about Yamaha jet boats, not wanting to go slow. Asking about pontoons, have an AR 240. Yeah, it's who was it? Derek, I think, was asking about my brother's Envision. He's got a twin Mercruisers on it, and that boat only wants to go 40. It doesn't want to go 30. It doesn't want to go 35. It wants to go 40. That's where it likes to cruise, and you almost can't run it slower than that. It's either idle or 40, and that's just the way it is. Some of the jet boats are that same way, especially the twins like that AR 240. That's a fun running boat. It's quick, and it's sporty, and they're fun to run. But it's just a different run than like you said, looking to go to a pontoon. It's not good or bad. It's just different than an outboard. It's different than a pontoon for sure. All right. You mentioned seeing a JC at a boat show recently. How'd you compare it? Top 5 pontoons brand. I would say it's not in the top 5. I think they do a really nice job. Let's see, JC pontoons. So, the JC's big thing is that they use the U-shaped pontoons, which they say in their marketing is going to give them more buoyancy because it's not round. When you get to the halfway point on the round, you start losing buoyancy the further up you go. And so they say, hey, we've got more buoyancy, which means more weight. And it also is a U, which means we don't have to have the cross members and the brackets and the risers. We just mount it right there, and it's a nice solid ride. I haven't run a JC, so I can't speak to that. But knowing the nose cones, knowing the way they design their boats, I like I said, it's going to ride well compared to what the Viaggio and the Sweetwater, I think is what you said. When you start looking at the upholstery, you start looking at the details. How do I want to say this? It's not as modern as some of them, but what I look at when I'm looking for quality is I look at the corner caps. How do they do the corner caps? Is it a teeny tiny cap? This one's pretty good size because of the way that they build their structure of the boat, slightly different than most. You've got a nice wide, let me go big screen on that. You've got a nice wide, oh crap, that didn't do any better. You've got a nice wide rail here, but your corner caps, they're not huge. when you see the Barlettas, the Benningtons, the Harrises, their corner cap goes, if you can see my cursor, Lewis, they go over a bigger portion so that when you hit that corner of the dock because you misread it a little bit or the wind catches you or a wave gets you, this corner cap is more likely to get damaged because it's can't disperse the energy very far. Okay. So that's one of the things I look at. Then I look at the seams on the upholstery. Off the top of my head, I would have to go back and look all of my photos and my commentary that I make when I look at them. But that's a couple of the things that I see as the modernness and of the design. But that's more of a personal preference. It's not a quality or not quality. It's just something that I notice. I don't know, nice stitching. I always look to see, okay, can you see the stitching kind of pull through? Is it single stitching? Is it double stitching? And so that's I would put it in the good quality mid tier. I wouldn't put it in the top 5 though. If that's what you're asking, and I need to go through and I need to put that updated one together. And again, in the quality, they're going to all talk about their tunes. They're going to talk about that their tunes go all the way up and it's more buoyant all the way through versus when you get there. It's, I guess that's science. It's correct. And they also, their gauge, most pontoon manufacturers use 0.08 thickness, and they use 0.1. So a little bit thicker, more durable. I think they have to though, because of the U shape. The U shape isn't not as strong. I think it just needs to be thicker. I don't know that for a fact, but my gut tells me there's a reason why they use the thicker because of that shape versus the round, where it's the industry standard. All right, so let's see here. Brock, Derek. Jose, you're very welcome. Yeah, and I don't want to steer you away from the jet boat, but I do want to give you the positives and the negatives. I know a lot of people that love the jet boats at the coast, but they don't go out anywhere. They run to the sandbar, and it's awesome for the sandbar. I love the 2-tiered swim platform, but it does make a difference. So, all right. Derek, King Crisp just got a 72 Statecraft 15 tri-hull. What horsepower engine should I get for trolling? I don't have any idea, King Crisp. Are you looking to put just a trolling motor on that? I don't even know what a Statecraft is, to be honest with you. Let me see if I can pull that up. 1872 Statecraft 15-foot. Oh shoot, that's a pontoon. Boat. Starcraft. Is it, Crisp, is it a Statecraft or a Starcraft? Starcraft I do know. Statecraft I'm not so sure. I'm gonna say that you meant to type Starcraft and it was just a typo. Okay. So it depends on what type of species you're going after, and where you're running it. On that type of boat, it's not uncommon to have the little 9.9 kicker. But you're also, I would imagine that you can run a trolling motor on that thing and it's going to be pretty light. I don't know what type of thrust you would need. I'm really, like I said, I don't know bass boats. I don't know a lot of fishing stuff, the specifics, but, if you've got a spot to run a trolling motor, like this one here, you can see on that 15-foot, that's going to be fairly light, but I don't know, King Chris. I don't have a good answer for you. and I would just be kind of making something up and giving you my best swag at it. If anybody else has a thought on that, Brock, I know you and Derek are going back and forth yet, but if you have any thoughts on that, and King Crisp, if you could tell me a little bit more about what you're looking to do. If you're looking to use the primary motor as the trolling motor, just give me a little bit more thought there. StarCraft. Okay. You're what do you call that? Spell check. Autocorrect. That's what I was. Autocorrect got you again. StarCraft. I got you. So, if you look at some of these, having the trolling motor up on the bow can be very, very common. You just want to make sure that you've got the right amount of thrust, that you've got a deep enough shaft to get down to the water on that particular boat. And again, I'm not the right expert to, well, I'm not an expert at all on any of that. So unfortunately, I can't be much help there. So, all right, we're at about an hour. Let me do my quick commercials here, and I will come back. If you've got questions, go ahead and throw it in the chat. Yeah, Chris, sorry about that. I hate when I don't have anything, but I also don't want to get too far outside my lane where I'm giving information that is just a swag or just a thought. So, all right. So if you are looking to buy a boat, grab the Boat Buyers Toolkit. You can get it at boatbuyerstoolkit.com. That toolkit is about 25 pages. Looks like this. You can print it out. It has kind of walk you through the buying process and questions to ask, checklists, let's see. I always remember I'm backwards. Inspection checklists on the boat, trailer inspection, demo checklist. This page right here, that's 2 full pages of how to demo and what to check on so you don't miss something as you're going through. You get all excited and you miss stuff. That's totally free. There's also a cost of ownership calculator that you can kind of plug in your own info from your market area, and that you can get that for free. There's also the Boaters Boot Camp, a new series we came out with for new boat owners to just share the things you don't know as you get into the world of boating. We talk about navigation. We talk about boat systems. All of, we go through outboards and we go through stern drives. The bilge pump, the filters that you need to know, the basic maintenance. Just introduce you to all the components of your boat, and we just go through boats and we show it to you. Rules of the road. We talk about emergency situations and, more importantly, how to avoid them, and just open your eyes to the new world that you may not have a lot of experiences. That's the Boater Bootcamp. Again, totally free. Just go to boaterbootcamp.com and you can pick it up there. We've got our programs. If you want a little bit more kind of hand holding, a little bit more, I can go and I can watch some of the 300 videos on the channel. Great, do that. If you want a little more succinct step-by-step process on how to buy, and there's some things in there that I probably don't go into as deep into videos, but because of it, I know this is just somebody that's looking to buy a boat. I go through new, used, pontoon, center console, all the different cruisers and what to look for. We actually get on boats and inspect them together. I walk you through what I call the 7 savvy steps, including the negotiation step, which is, hey, let's make sure you get the absolute best price on this boat and that it's the right boat so that you don't buy a big headache. And then the paperwork and all of that. Most people that have invested in this said the negotiation piece said them many times over what they invested in the program. The best boat captain on the water, once you do buy your boat, and hey, you got to how to drive that thing, get control of it, dock it. It can be very stressful. So in the best boat captain, we've got the pontoon version. We've got the single stern drive. On Wednesday, we finish up the single outboard version. And then I have plans to do the jet boat and the twin engine version and the wake boat version this summer. And those will be coming out. But we just walk you through so that you have total control of your boat by the end of it. Talk about how to tie it up at the docks, trailer like a pro, confident coastal boater, which will be shooting we had it scheduled for this coming weekend, but my guy hurt his back and he can't go out with me. My captain that boats on the coast exclusively, and I hired him to do it with me so that we could give you the best coastal information possible. That got pushed back, but that will be coming soon. The Boating Fun Amplifier Toolbox and Tow Water Sports with Confidence. The Toolbox is kind of just a hodgepodge of stuff that I think boaters need to know. All of those come with the money back guarantee. For whatever reason you're not 100% blown away by it, ask, you get your money back. All right, so those are the commercials, and let's see what questions came in here. Let's see here. You guys are going trolling motor. Oh, okay, here we go. For a trolling motor, you need to know how far the deck is off the water. Add at least 2 feet to that number. For the shaft, ocean, add 36 to that number because of the up and down of the ocean. You want to make sure that you're always getting so that you've got good water to bite into. Thrust in a 15-foot boat, be more than fine with the 60 to 80 thrust, unless you're fishing in strong river current. So, Chris, hopefully that helps you out. And Brock, I need to get you on as a guest, like Charlie was the other week. I will, maybe I'll do that. I'm going to be at the Ozarks on the 9th. And I'll be in Tennessee this coming Saturday, or Sunday for the live right before 4th of July. Maybe I'll reach out if you're not fishing and it fits into your schedule easily. Maybe we can do that. Sound is breaking up. Hopefully my internet's not having issues. Captain, one quick question. Did you have any idea good price point for inside heated storage, 23 foot, 6 months for the winter? Around here, Derek, around here, you're going to be, 2,000 to 2,500, where they're going to wrap up winterization and winter storage, maybe wrap the boat, but probably not for that price. For say the 6 months, some of them will do it by foot, but that's going to be kind of just a ballpark price, 2,000 to 2,500 for the winter, but it's going to wrap that whole service up in. If you're looking just for storage, and you want it to be inside, it can be harder to come by, but you could probably get it for, I would say, 1,500, maybe as low as 1,000 if you're a little bit more flexible on where you're going to store it. Just make sure, Derek, wherever you were to put something, that you've got it wrapped up tight so a critter doesn't get in there and make it his nest for the winter and have some little babies in your new boat. It's happened more than once, and you got to be real careful of that if you're storing it somewhere that doesn't have a ton of traffic in it. So I talk about that in my winterization videos because I've seen it happen to folks, and it's not a fun thing to open your boat for the spring and find a bunch of little furry critters in there that have torn through all the upholstery and the wiring and all that. So, all right, guys, we're just over, let's say, an hour and 10 minutes here. I don't see any more questions coming in. This was a good one. Brock, thanks again for having the conversation with Derek, kind of going through that on the Nitro. I appreciate it. Ray, thanks for always being with us. Derek, good to have you back in the comments and on the live. And everybody else, Jose, King Crisp, thanks for joining us. Dave, Anthony, Hux, if you're still on, thanks for joining us. You guys all have a great week, and we'll talk to you next weekend. Remember, life truly is better on a boat. Take care, everybody.